With the 55th ANC National Conference well underway, let's take you back to Nasrec, and that's where day 2 of the conference is in full swing. My colleague Bongiwe Zwane is there bringing you the latest analysis. Bongiwe, good afternoon.
Good afternoon again, Iman, to you and the viewers. And of course, lots happening. And as you know, predicted, we always have breaking news when conference is in full swing. And Iman, I'm going to go straight to Mzwandile Mbeja, political editor, who is standing by with the presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya. Mzwandile.
Well, a very good evening to you, Bongiwe, and the viewers. And of course, we are with the spokesperson of the president, Vincent Magwenya. Earlier, the president issued a letter responding to the letter, really, that has been sent by the former president to him. You remember that he has decided to take a private prosecution on the matter, and of course the president has taken a dim view on that, saying it's basically this is the abuse of the constitutional system that we are having. But of course with me is the spokesperson, as I've said, so he will give us the response of the president to this matter. Mr. Magwenya, we saw just a day before the conference started when the former president said actually he has criminally charged the president. So your reaction was to reject that. But today the president went further, saying this thing needs to be withdrawn as soon as possible.
Well, Mzwandile, there had to be, from a legal process point of view, to respond officially to that summons and write to Mr. Zuma's legal team with the hope that both the legal team and Mr. Zuma, more importantly, will recognize the error of this whole so-called private prosecution, because it is an error in law. It is also an error with respect to abuse of this provision. I don't know if you got the chance to see the summon that was served. No, you wouldn't have had that chance, but you know, one look at that summon. Respectfully, it is hopelessly substandard. There is no nolle prosequi certificate. The one that's being circulated, for example, and being shown as the certificate is not the certificate that has been attached or annexed to the summon. So those inconsistencies, the abuse of the process, and the fact that legally the president actually can ignore that summon. In the letter, which we've shared with your colleagues in the media, the legal team stated a number of precedent cases that say the president actually is not obligated to respond to such a summon. What is disappointing here is that the president communicated to Mr. Zuma via his legal team, acknowledging the complaint that he raised, but also informing him of the actions he had taken. And those actions are, he referred the matter, rightfully so, to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, who bears oversight responsibility over the NPA, requested him to refer the issue to the LPC. Now, that is a statutory mechanism that you will utilize if you have complaints against the conduct of the advocates, as in this particular case. Now, to expect the president to interfere with the workings of an independent prosecutorial body is the abuse of our constitutional system, and is in a way extreme that you will want the president to go that far as if there aren't any legal mechanism that are available.
You have, or rather the president has basically said, if this is not withdrawn, I think by Monday, so he will take legal action.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the idea here is that when that legal action is taken, at least on record, there is some reference that says there was an attempt to bring some sensibility around this matter, to give Mr. Zuma an opportunity to reconsider his stance, to think about, protecting the integrity of our constitutional order, but should he fail to do so, the president reserves his right to take the matter further and exercise those rights as appropriately as is advised.
So what is the president's attitude, or rather approach, given what has been happening between the two of them? Even yesterday at the plenary, at the opening, so the former president walked in late, disrupting him. And then, of course, there was a lot of noise and then a lot of maybe attempted disruption. But afterwards, we saw them sharing a joke or a laughter.
Look, President Ramaphosa is always cordial with all of his colleagues. He has the utmost respect for all former presidents of the ANC and former presidents of the country. He sees them as elders, playing a constructive role, not only in guiding the governing party, but guiding the country, guiding the continent on tackling a number of issues that we need to tackle as a country and as a continent. That's why he sees them. He finds it disappointing when former heads of state who've had an opportunity to lead the governing party, who've had the opportunity to lead the country, bring themselves back to what I will call, with all due respect, the daily mud of politics. He finds that rather disappointing because it robs the country of the wisdom that otherwise we will benefit from our former heads of state. But generally, he has a very good relationship with all of them, bears no animosity with any of them. And, you know, as they throw issues and challenges at him, he will take those as they come.
Well, the country has been of late battling higher stages of load shedding because Eskom has been struggling, and then we've been told there's a number of other stations that were being sabotaged. So what is the president thinking in terms of making sure that we have stable electricity and, of course, these things are properly secured, I guess?
Well, there's only a number of issues, but if you want to find the president's thinking, go back to the National Energy Plan that the president announced. That's where his thinking is, and that's the process he's leading, not only as the head of state, but also as the chair of the National Energy Crisis Committee. That's number one. Number two, the president is very mindful of the issues that impact Eskom, because we must remember, our energy supply issues are not only located with Eskom. We have issues around Eskom, which the president has admitted to and said we must fix, and which we are fixing as a government, and which Eskom is also fixing. So, for example, you have criminal syndicates in and outside of Eskom that have necessitated that government looks more and more to the security situation, around Eskom. Inside Eskom, we're battling issues of sabotage, we're battling issues of theft of diesel, we're battling issues of poor coal supply to Eskom. These issues are not accidental. So as a result, there is ongoing discussions to look at improving the security in and around Eskom. There is collaboration across all security agencies, from your state security to your police. There are discussions taking place even with the Defence Force to ensure that we beef up security around Eskom, because we now have evidence that there are elements in this country that are set at targeting that critical infrastructure, that are set, quite frankly, at destroying our economy for their own selfish interest, which this government will not bow down to.
So, if I understand you well, could there be a possibility of perhaps seeing deployments, either increased police or even defense force?
That possibility cannot be ruled out. That possibility is very much alive. As the assessments are done and threat assessments are conducted and more information is gathered, the government will respond in the necessary manner to ensure that all areas of our critical infrastructure with respect to energy provisions are properly protected.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mzondile.
Well, that was the presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya, basically saying the issue of Eskom as well is a great concern, and then they are looking at all security forces or security measures that they can employ. Perhaps it's not far-fetched to think that the defense force could be employed perhaps to protect that.